Hi everybody, this is going to be a quick video over numbers 17 and 18 on homework 3 for unit 10. These ones are different because typically when we are working with geometric sequences, we're given the first term and the common ratio, or we're given an actual sequence and we can find those things by looking at it. Here, we're given the second term and the fourth term, and we're trying to figure out what the first term was. So we have to get kind of creative here. So the first way that I thought about it was, what information do I have and how are they related? So if you think about it, we don't know our first term. We know that our second term is 48. We don't know our third term. And then we know that our fourth term is 75. So when I'm thinking about this, I know that to get from each term to the next, they're getting multiplied by whatever r is, but we don't know what r is. That's what makes this problem challenging. But that helps us kind of process how we can use the 48 and the 75 here, how we can use the second and the fourth terms to be able to solve for that common ratio r and the first term. So what I did was this. I set up an equation thinking about how I could get from the second term to the fourth term. Okay, if I have the fourth term, that means I took the second term, and how many times would that second term need multiplied by r to get to the fourth term? Well, if we're going from 48 to 75, it would get multiplied by r once and twice. So that means that a2, the second term, should get multiplied by r squared to give us that fourth term. Now, what this then allows me to do is plug in the information I know, the a4 and the a2, so 75 and 48, and then solve. So I'm going to divide by 48 first. So that would give us 1.5625. And then we can square root. Now remember that when we square root something, we should put a plus or minus there. But in this case, I know that my common ratio is going to be positive. So I'm just going to keep it positive here. I'm going to keep it as a positive 1.25. So let's think about how that kind of leads us to where we need to go here. If I know my common ratio is 1.25, okay, then we can go back and we can think that, well, to get from A1, which is what we're looking for, to A2, it would have needed multiplied by this R value once. So what we're saying is A2 would be equal to the first term that we're looking for times R. Okay, well, we know two of these unknowns here. So A2 we know is really 48. We know that R now is really 1.25. And then we can just divide by 1.25. And that gives us an A1 value, or a first term value, of 38.4. So that requires some critical thinking, some problem solving. It's definitely not straightforward, but this is a process that you can go through anytime you have some random terms in a given sequence. So if we look at 18, it's pretty similar. Okay, we have the third term and the sixth term. We want to know the eighth term. So again, I'm going to set up the relationship between the third term and the sixth term. How many times would I need to multiply the third term by r to get that sixth term? So I'm just going to write it out like this just to make it easier to decide. So if we're looking at it this way, we would need to multiply by r once, twice, 3 times. So now I can go ahead and I can say that the sixth term would be equal to the third term times r cubed. And then we can substitute in what we know. So now we're going to solve for r. So first we're going to divide by 16. That's going to give us 15.625. And then we have r cubed, so we're going to take the cube root. So let's see here. That would give us 2.5. So just like last time, once I know this r value, now I can go ahead and I can actually find what I want to find here. We want to find the 8th term. So thinking about what we know, I have a to the 6th. We would need to multiply a to the 6th by r twice to get to the 8th term. So we can say that the 8th term is equal to a to the 6th, or not a to the 6th, but a subscript 6, times r to the 2nd power. So plug in what we know. Let's see, a6 was 250. And I know that my common ratio is 2.5. So now if I go through this calculation, I'm going to find that that 8th term is 1,562.5. All right, guys, I hope this was helpful. Please let me know if you have any other questions, and have a great day.